And we see what happens when we don't look to God as the one who grants authority. We look to what? Man as the one who has ultimate authority. And that's kind of where I go and I start, unpacking how do we get this authority.
Mm. Mm. Why don't you break this down? You talk about a worldview that denies God and believes all authority is earned and given by man. You said, as a result, one sees the effect of a worldview that declares a man as the ultimate authority. So if man is ultimate authority, he does what he wants because he is only accountable to himself. We see this on a corporate and individual level. Corporately, history speaks to the establishment of America as an example of a man being the ultimate measure of authority. And so what you're saying in this is, even though man may see himself as ultimate authority, he's holding himself accountable, so he's able to give himself that type of authority
and do what he wants.
And do what he wants.
And I don't want to, I want to be just as respectful as I can, but I know stuff like this is going to step on people's toes. Just look at the formation of America. Just think about it. I'm not a American history buff, but I know enough that there was someone here before, the Europeans got here. And what did they do? They just what? I've got the authority. I'm going what? Just take everybody out, do what I want, and then claim it. We fail to realize that America is just founded on violence and oppression, and however, it wasn't an authority that was taken. Someone was already here prior to the Europeans coming over and establishing what America. And so I make the point, it's like, what happens when someone, claims new land? They name it, right? They named America, and as a result, they, in their mind, have some sort of authority over it. But that ain't right. I think we can clearly understand it's not right to take something that doesn't belong to you.
Right.
And I understand this is just how all civilizations have governed themselves, just conquering other nations. So I completely understand it.
Right.
Doesn't make it any right, because who's going to hold these people accountable? And if there's no God, then what? America's not going to hold itself accountable for all the things that they've done to the Native Americans who are already here, And it's like, once God is out of the equation, man can do as he please, because he is what? The ultimate authority. And the country that we live in is founded on this principle where man is the ultimate authority, thus he does as he pleases. And we see it firsthand.
Was man created with that?
Absolutely.
He
was created with that authority, but it has to be exercised knowing that even though I've been given authority, that I'm ultimately going to be responsible with how I exercise this authority. I think, and we kind of, and I don't want to jump too far into it, because we'll get there, because the next point that I start making, because I just talked about authority just on a corporate level, just collectively, and America is just a prime example of man being the ultimate authority, doing as he pleases, regardless of another person.
But I think the more dangerous piece is on the individual level.
Absolutely, because we see that in our everyday lives, and the point that I make, I say those who are bigger, richer, smarter exercise authority over those who are not. This is seen at school, work, and social media. Those whose worldview sees man as the ultimate authority typically impose their will on others. This is seen when kids bully each other, when the rich oppress the poor, and when the educated look down on the uneducated. If man is the ultimate authority, like I said, we can do what we want, and I think we're all guilty of this, exercising our, even just as Americans, we think we're better than every other country, and thus we go into these countries and kind of force them to conform to what we deem as the right way to govern themselves. It's very arrogant, I'm in the authority to do as I please. And that's just an American kind of mindset. And like I said, we're all kind of guilty. We kind of look at people who are foreigners like, you're not American,
Right.
And so that's what happens when man is seen as the ultimate authority.
Mm. You still go in here and you talk about later submitting to the right authority.
Mm-hmm.
How do you decipher, discern true peaceful authority apart from a forceful authority that you just feel that you had to bow down to, right? Like when you were talking about, there's no ultimate authority for man to believe it from God. Then he sees it as himself.
Yeah.
So take the example of Saddam Hussein. When he when he got in reign, his tactics of fear and force, because no one else could hold this man accountable, he did great damage to that country and to that country's, people.
Yeah.
So how can a person decipher, this is real peaceful authority over here or power that I should submit to, right?
Yeah.
Versus a power that is an authority that I cannot submit to, but I have no other way out.
And I think that's a good point, because that's essentially what I'm saying. We have these individuals throughout history, these dictators, these tyrants, these terrorists, who I'm an authority, thus I'm going to do what I want. I think North Korea has a dictator over there. You're going to do what I say, so this authority by force. Now I think just the majority of people just innately know that should not be the way that you govern. But under whose authority should a Saddam Hussein submit to? I can't go to Saddam and say, you shouldn't be doing this. Because what he gonna say? Goodbye, I'm in control. It boils down to, and this is why when we started the book and how I wrote it, I started with this idea of truth. Because Saddam Hussein has a truth, that his truth is, I'm an authority, you're gonna do what I tell you to do.
Right.
I have a truth that no, you shouldn't have authority that's built on force and fear. But who is he to submit to what I say?
Right.
All it is us two people going back and forth. There must be a standard above Saddam and above me that we both have to submit to. It just can't be my word against his word, because he's going to do what he wants to do. So there must be something above us to do it. And it's so important, because I then go into making the point that man cannot be the ultimate authority, that someone has to be an authority over him. For someone, I can't just be the leader of a nation and do as I please, because I'm ultimately going to be accountable.
He must have some accountability. He must have some divine accountability. And then he must have some earthly accountability.
Absolutely. And when you're a dictator, there's typically no earthly accountability. I think what ends up happening is you get assassinated. Like you look at the Roman, empire and the assassinations that happened through that, or just any kingdom. And I don't want to say it's always due to someone being a dictator, but that's what happens. Okay, you're an authority. I don't like your authority. What am I doing? I'm gonna come kill you, and then I'm gonna take rule. And that's how it happens. And it's like, is that truly how we want to gain authority? Okay, I don't like what you're doing, so I'm gonna take you out. That's not how we see it. That's not how authority should be. But that's the testimony of history and just in our own lives. If someone is an authority that we don't like, we either physically force them to submit to what we want, but that's not the way it should be, because we all are accountable to someone. And so I go in making my point that it can't be man who's ultimately accountable to himself. And so this idea of naming is of vital importance, because again, I make the point, you're a parent, you name your child. You're a business owner, you name your business. You're an inventor, you name your business. You conquer a country, you name the country. But I say, who named man?